Assalamualaikum and hi to the people that's watching this video. My name is Danisha Yukan bin Raizad, and like in the previous video, I'm still a student of National Defence University of Malaysia and currently thriving in the studies of mechanical engineering. Okay, in today's video, I'm going to explain to you guys about euthanasia. But before that, let me explain first what euthanasia is. Okay, euthanasia refers to deliberately ending someone's life, usually to relieve suffering. Doctors sometimes perform euthanasia when it's requested by people who have a terminal illness and are in a lot of pain. Okay, from my research, I found out there's 4 types of euthanasia. First, being active euthanasia. Second is passive. Third is indirect, and lastly is a physician-assisted suicide. Putting that aside, okay, I will now be explaining to you guys about euthanasia through the SWOT analysis, starting with the strength, weakness, and followed by the threats and opportunities. Okay, firstly let's look to the strength section. Okay, firstly, what euthanasia can give us is it enables a person to end their life with dignity. Now, death with dignity, what does it mean? It means it's a movement that encourages legislatures to allow people to decide how they want to die. Okay, some people, they don't want to go through a long dying process out of concern of the burden on their loved ones. So if you ask me, people have the right to choose their own death, and if euthanasia is what they want, then so be it. They are aware of the consequences, and feel that they had lived a blissful life. So let them be the writer of their own death instead of continuing a life that is full of miseries ahead. Now, doctors play an important role in this in euthanasia because I believe they should support their patient's right to be treated as an autonomous human being. Okay, euthanasia is different. It's actually different than a suicide. The goal is to help and end the suffering of a lengthy death, especially if there is a chronic and severe pain involved. Okay, moving on to the weakness. Point 1, which euthanasia receives a lot of disagreement from the people because it's morally wrong and very unethical. Now, why do I say this? Because euthanasia is nothing but cold blood and murder. I mean, you are ending a person's life. That's a very heinous act, in my opinion. And to top it off, euthanasia gives the people the impression of that lives of the disabled or sick are worth less than others. Okay, moving on to the next point on the strength section is euthanasia allows to save money. Now, like it or not, the end of a person's life is actually the beginning of a financial journey for their loved ones. Now, debts are not wiped away at death. Your estate becomes responsible to pay off remaining obligations and other item businesses. It can even take years sometimes to resolve your complex financial issue. When euthanasia is a part of conversation for someone with a terminal illness, then there can be more planning to make this transition easier on everyone else by having more control over the final decision of life. The emotional and physical toll of an illness can be reduced for everyone involved. It's not just relief for the person who is suffering, but the rest of the family can also find peace knowing that there is a planned time to create an end to the situation. Moving on to the second point of weakness, which is disapproval from many religions. Okay, it's been reported that those who have a strong religious beliefs, they disapprove of euthanasia for a number of reasons. Reason number 1, they say that God has forbidden it. Now, virtually all religions with Supreme God have a command from God in their scriptures telling that says you must not kill. Now, this is usually interpreted as meaning you must not kill innocent human beings. This rules out euthanasia as carrying out any of this would be against God's orders. Now, moving on to second reason, which is the sanctity of life. Religious people often refer to the sanctity of life, or say that human life is sacred. They usually mean something like God gives people life, so only God has the right to take it away. In simpler words, we are only stewards of our bodies and are responsible to God for them. Therefore, we must use our bodies as God intended us to, and must allow our lives to end at the time and in the way that God wants. Okay, now with the weakness covered, we're moving on to the trash. Now, point 1. Euthanasia. This is actually a common among euthanasia cases, which is medically mistake. Okay. Even despite the fact that the world is filled with professional doctors, there are no guarantees that they're always right. Doctors are human beings too. Their prediction of terminal diagnosis can be rarely accurate. In fact, 17% of people who find themselves in this situation live far longer, sometimes much longer, than what the doctor initially recommends. To add more, disease are never 100% terminal. A cure could be found in the future, which would mean that the person just died and unnecessarily dead. Knowing this, the family of the patient might also face great physiological suffering because of the decision of the patient to end his or her life through active euthanasia. Okay, point two of stress, which is rationalization. Now, there is often doubt whether euthanasia is really what the patient wants in the end, because sometimes they are too ill to make a rational decision. Okay, why do I say this? It's because they are not in the prime condition to think clearly, as their illness are clouding their judgment. Now, try to imagine yourself sick, like having a cold fever. Surely you yourself can't even think straight. Now, try to imagine yourself in a dying patient's shoes. Surely you want to end your short suffering as quickly as possible because of the unbearable pain. But because you want to end your short suffering, and because of the pain, you can't think clearly, and that's why you choose euthanasia in the end, because you knew that that's the fastest way to end that short suffering. Now, moving on to the final section of the SWOT analysis, which is opportunities. Now, opportunities is something that will happen in the nearest future, and in my opinion, if patients keep on continuing with euthanasia, one thing that would happen is the integrity of medical professions will be greatly damaged. Now, why do I say this? Okay, because firstly, people, they develop the view that medical professions are meant to heal and alleviate pain. So this view helps to establish the integrity of medical professions and create a trust between the doctors and the patients. However, if euthanasia is allowed, that integrity will be eroded, as patients would view doctors as someone who can take lives at will. Now, if this keeps on going, the doctors, they will develop a negative physiological reaction, since the doctors themselves is the immediate cause of the patient's death. Okay, finally, save more life. I believe that euthanasia could save more life in the future. Now, hold up, I know what you guys thinking. Euthanasia, helping people. Euthanasia meant to end a person's life. I know, but try to look at it in a different way. If one practices euthanasia, they will spare the time, the money, and the medicine to other patients who have a higher chance of survival. Now, with that, more lives could be saved. To top it off, people who practice euthanasia for the sake of others, in my opinion, are people who have a brave heart and should be highly respected for. Okay, with that being said, that concludes the end of this video. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful day. Bye.